Bring in Rudy Giuliani, who is the president's attorney, and he is the former mayor of New York City. We wanted to get, Mr. Giuliani, we wanted to get your opinion about this IG report and what you think should happen now in the Mueller investigation.
They should end it. I mean, the IG report basically tells you that both prongs of the Mueller investigation are either corrupt or answered. The second one, the obstruction of justice. I mean, this report is a complete and absolute explanation of why Comey had to be fired. So how can it be obstruction of justice? Every reason for firing him is laid out here. He usurped the power of the attorney general. He leaked information illegally. He had a department that was leaking like a sieve at the higher level. Please, not the agents in the New York office, not the agents in the Washington office, and the lawyers and agents around him were leaking information in exchange for gifts. That's called bribery. You know, that's what the Knapp Commission was about for the New York City Police Department. But here it wouldn't be the entire FBI. It would be the people around Comey. So this thing has to change from an investigation of the Trump administration for collusion, which is a made-up charge by Peter Strzok, who said, I'm going to get Trump, I'm going to stop him, I'm going to get him out of the White House. It should become an investigation of Comey, those FBI agents, who should be fired today and in prison next week.
I just don't understand why Peter Strzok still has a job. Everyone has to take a moment and look at his bias, his disdainful comments, and there are three other unnamed agents on there. Agent 1, Agent 2, Agent 3. They say stuff just as horrific and biased. I don't even know about their actions yet, but what their thought pattern is condemning enough. But while you're speaking, Rudy, the President of the United States just tweeted.
He says FBI agent Peter Strzok, who headed the Clinton and Russia investigations, texted to his lover, Lisa Page, in the IG report that will stop candidate Trump from becoming president. It doesn't get any lower than that, he says. The IG report is a total disaster for Comey, his minions, and sadly the FBI. Comey will now officially go down as the worst leader by far in the history of the FBI. I did a great service to the people in firing him. Good instincts. Christopher Wray will bring it proudly back.
And Rudy, just so we're very clear, you know, while Horowitz does not have documented evidence that Comey's decisions were colored by this bias, is it your opinion then that this irrefutable 568 pages of bias in this document is coloring and should be drawn into question for the Mueller investigation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's look at it this way. This is the preface to the Mueller investigation. Like the next chapter is the corrupt Mueller investigation. Not Mueller, but the reason for the investigation. Peter Strzok was running the Hillary investigation. That's a total fix. That's a closed book now. Total fix. Comey should go to jail for that, and Strzok. But then, what does Comey do? He takes Strzok, who you just see right there, wanted to get Trump in any way possible. He puts him in charge of the Russia investigation. So what do you think? How come they're not finding any evidence of collusion? Because the president didn't do anything wrong, and he's being investigated corruptly.
So do you believe Strzok should be prosecuted? Because one part of this report, Rudy, shows that there could be, and Horowitz says he can't say that the bias didn't possibly play a role, that Strzok delayed calling in the Anthony Weiner laptop, which ultimately proved that Hillary Clinton had classified information.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, he ended up hurting Hillary Clinton, but not. He wasn't trying to. He hoped he could kill that thing for the entire election. However, the agents in the New York office, we all know this, rebelled. They had a revolution. And Comey made 2 attempts to quiet them down and then realized, I can't do that. I'm going to look terrible here. If she gets elected, I'll look terrible. If she doesn't, I'll get... And so he goes ahead and he does something completely unprecedented, completely against Justice Department policy. A singular reason for firing him, he holds that press conference reopening the investigation of the pervert Weiner and his wife, Humidine, and all the emails that he had. Why that doesn't get prosecuted is beyond explanation. Now, that's a challenge for Sessions, Rosenstein, and Wray. This stuff's better be prosecuted now. Stop with all this nonsense about collusion, which didn't happen, obstruction of justice based on a report that says he should be fired. Let's investigate the investigators. Let's take a halt to the Mueller investigation. Let's stop it.
All right.
and let's turn and get rid of all the agents doing the Mueller investigation. I mean, Mueller's got a guy with him that donated $36,000 to Hillary. He's got one who cried at Hillary's losing party. They're just as bad as Strzok when you take a look at them.
In this report, there are 5 unnamed FBI employees, not including Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, that are under scrutiny for anti-Trump bias. One of them is a lawyer who worked on the Mueller probe. He's the one who was tweeting out or sending messages saying, "Viva la resistance," meaning I'm going to resist. "I am so numb," he said after the election. "I am so stressed about what I could have done differently."
Well, the reality is that somebody like that obviously shouldn't be working for the FBI. He's got emotional problems and probably needs Valium or something like that. Heck of a thing for the FBI. Now, please, I want to emphasize one more time on behalf of the president and myself. I've worked with the FBI for 40 years. This would not have been uncovered but for the FBI. I'm talking about the honest, decent ones. And Ray owes it to them to now uncover these people. Well, the guys who got gifts, Brian, they are immediately prosecutable.
Well, let me just define that, Mr. Mayor. I'll define that. There were hundreds of examples of the press buying tickets and dinners and events and golfing and tea times for FBI agents. Now, what do they get in return? Maybe leaks. Some leaks and some stories. Now, if I went out with a lawmaker, they will not. If I want to buy them lunch or dinner, they are not allowed to take a meal. They're not allowed to take a drink. They can't get a cup of coffee from somebody in the media. And not one of them is ever, like, if you offer to pay, they always recoil. I want to give you an idea. I got to get you. You know the legal things, and I know you want the president this whole thing to end. I get that. But so far, we just have words. We don't know what Peter Strzok did. We don't know what Lisa Page did. We don't know what Agent 3, 4, and 5 did. Are words enough?
Absolutely. I mean, words are the makings of a conspiracy. I mean, that's if I say you are going to have to see follow-through action. For example, I want to stop Trump, Russia investigation. That's why there's no evidence of collusion. I want to stop Trump. Obstruction of justice based on firing Comey when any president in his right mind would have fired him on day one. So the actions are the corrupt. The investigation that we've been reading about for a year and a half was given birth by all of these corrupt acts by Peter Strzok, Comey. And how about Comey's leak? Why does he have a department leaking? Because he leaks. Admittedly, he leaked a memo to the professor. And that is the basis of this entire investigation.
Well, a lot of people, this is all about the voters and the American people. That's what this show's about. That's what the president's doing it. He's not doing it for the money. And look at what these FBI agents think of Trump supporters. This is a quote. Trump supporters are all poor to middle class, uneducated, lazy. I think I know what that means, POS. That he think he will magically grant them jobs for doing nothing. They probably didn't watch the debates, aren't fully educated on his policies, and are stupidly wrapped up in his unmerited enthusiasm. They also said some other things, that words we don't use anymore, talking about some type of mental handicap that they say that Donald Trump has, and so do the people that voted for him. I mean, that's the utter disdain. How can you do an investigation if you feel this way?
About all of us. I mean, that would apply to me. It would apply to the people that supported the people in his administration, all the witnesses they're talking to, and everybody listening to us today who supported him. And the reality is that kind of disdain shows their incredible liberal elite bias, their Democratic elite bias. Now, that spills over to Mueller's people, 13 angry Democrats working for Mueller, people who donated over $35,000 to Hillary Clinton, people who were there at her party crying like the FBI agent was crying. I mean, crying. Come on. So they should not be involved in the investigation. But more importantly, there should not be an investigation. Mueller should now make a report, everything he's got, no interview of the president. He shouldn't be bothered with it. Why would he get interviewed in a corrupt investigation?
So this makes you feel less likely to interview than you did on Sunday before this dropped?
The Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, the appropriate officials in the Justice Department, with Mueller's consent, should say, enough's enough. We've wasted $20 million on a corrupt investigation engineered by Comey and his goons. And the idea that this is a witch hunt, the idea that this is a frame, which President Trump has said from the beginning, now turns out to be documented by the IG. Now let's turn to investigate the corrupt investigators and clean up the FBI. And it's not going to be hard. It's only the top, not all those good agents. Most of them are with us. You know, they're poor, stupid, dumb, because most of them voted for Donald Trump. They didn't vote for crooked Hillary.
All right, Mr. Mayor. Well, there's certainly a lot of trust to be earned back from the American people that this report has brought out. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Great to see you.